Welcome, bow betters. Welcome to MMA Sip and Smoke. It's your boy Roberto. You guys haven't heard from me in a while. Sorry, I cannot be consistent, but welcome, bow betters. Welcome, welcome. Hope everybody is doing well this New Year's. Hopefully, everybody's been winning some money. Yeah, we are. We are getting through the stream. The sound is actually working properly. Wait, I didn't get my theme music going on. Let me get my theme music going on. Hey, some big news, or just some regular news, guys. This sip and smoke is just going to be with tea, and I'm actually going to review the tea. I'm not going to be able to do any booze or alcohol for some time. I'm on a little sort of unintended or intended little hiatus from the beer, wine, and spirits. So if there is going to be a sip review, it's going to be a review of tea, coffee, juice, water. Today it's going to be the Aldi ginger root and turmeric tea is what I'm having. I had some coffee this morning, and as we mentioned in the welcome bow betters, and as we mentioned in the title, we are going to smoke one of the Vendetta XOs from EZRA Zion, and I'm going to be basically unboxing that for that, and then we're going to have a brief or a sort of obtuse discussion on urban carry. And what I mean by that is, these are trying times, and there's a certain way I think a lot of big differences in both everyday carry as well as a tactical everyday or a tactical sort of pack out for running a tactical sort of, I wouldn't say mission, but just being safe to move or to acquire resources. If you have to leave your home, what you should or could do, and sort of what platforms work both on a carrying level in terms of packing out, in terms of physically sort of your backpacks, or you're going to use a chest rig, you can use it sort of a full vest, or you're going to use your plate carrier. Are you going to fully carry a big backpack, et cetera, et cetera? So those options, I think, and those solutions are a lot different than what most people have been putting on the internet. So I'm going to discuss that briefly. So let me get the camera on myself here. Welcome, bow betters. Did my music stop? Did we get the music going at all? We could still get the music going on. We could still do some music. We got all that. We got all the time in the world, people. Welcome, bow betters. Yeah, there I go. Yeah, I'm outside. This is like the first day in quite some time that we've had to, you know, to, sit out here and smoke. I'm actually warm in my outfit that I have right now, so I'm very, very happy that I'm out here and that I'm going to be able to smoke something. There's still a little window, right? Uh, there's still a little window. Come on, let me get it up here. There's still a little window here. Boom. Let me get that in the front there. My logo is welcome, bow betters. Welcome to MMA Sip and Smoke. Yeah, today we're going to smoke. It's been a while since I've had a cigar. I've been dying to have a cigar, man. Dying. All right, cool. Then we got that there. Cool. Been dying. So we're going to unbox this EZRA. First of all, watch check. This is a very pretty watch. I'll give it that. Very pretty watch. But I think one of the most overvalued purchases that I made in the watch, and this is the Timex Marlin. Right? Excellent. Love that in-house movement. Right, that Timex movement, beautiful, but it looks fantastic. Right? It looks good on any strap. And I don't have a lot of the gold things, but this casing here, I think, is plastic. And then the Heralex, or the plastic domed glass here, it's not glass. I'm sorry, it's domed plastic. Right, so it has a ton. I haven't worn this watch so much, but if you look closely enough, there's a ton of not even micro scratches. They're like significant scratches on this this plastic here on the dome. I want to say glass, but it isn't glass. So you have plastic and plastic. So, and I don't like the finish. And I haven't even worn this very much. I haven't even washed it. The finish is already bubbling. So this is definitely a plastic here, right? So it looks good, beautiful, pearl, dial on it, very pretty, goes with a lot of outfits, but very for what the price is, and it's actually went up. I got mine for $70. This thing is selling for, well, if you could find it, find this Marlin, it's well over $100 at this time. So, um, you know, I wouldn't buy it. I wouldn't recommend it. Good looking watch. There's the Marlin Chrono that is very, very popular. That might be a model that I would look at first. I wouldn't just buy sight unseen, or if you do buy it on Amazon, take a look at it. At the time, I was just so happy to get the watch that I didn't really do justice on examining like all the finishes on it. I already knew it had that Heraflex or whatever glass or whatever it is, the plastic here, the protected dial, but not really a great quality, but a beautiful watch and regardless because it's domed. I notice it, I like it, so would I wear this in everyday carry? No, absolutely not. What I would wear in terms of a watch, I probably would wear one of my Casio G-Shocks. A lot of people have those Garmin GPS watches, which I'd recommend as well. Although those are also dependent, right, still on. They have battery, but they're still dependent on communications being up. And something that has like a compass. Like some of these watches do actually have a compass. Analog, still not bad, right? Keeping an analog watch. But I think overall, because of just the functionality of an everyday carrier, urban day carry, and just to remain conspicuous, I'd wear either one of my G-Shocks, or if not even the G-Shock, to tone that down, I'd wear my like Casio World Timer, right? That it doesn't look super tactical. It still has a stopwatch on it, still has like multiple functions in terms of times, et cetera, and it's low key, right? I think the main thing when we're talking about any, especially urban tactical carry, is two things: discretion, right? Discretion number one, and then weight number two. I think a lot of the pack outs, both in urban and non-urban settings that you see in YouTube, are way too heavy. They're just way too much stuff. If you're doing an urban sort of, if you're here living in a city and you intend to stay in the city and you're just trying to survive in the city during a conflict, having things like a poncho and this fire equipment and a full first aid gear and food, a couple, three cracker things or bars of Cliff Bars might be a little overkill, right? A lot of the weight that people are carrying packs just in supplies that are like 12 to 13 pounds. 12 to 13 pounds, I could fill a full backpack, right? And I'm not going to fill it, if I'm here in an urban context, I'm not going to fill it with all this unnecessary sort of survival gear that I don't need. I need the first things that I need to do, first of all, to protect myself, second of all, to conceal easily so that I look inconspicuous and I don't look like a target, and third of all, that I'm going to be able to move quickly, because in any context that you're going to be doing, you're going to either move extremely slow and cautiously, but there's going to be a time where you're going to do rapid movement to lead to another place. I'm not a military person. I'm not even a tactical sort of guru or played paintball. It's just, for me, it's just all common sense and how I see things playing out in a real urban context. And I think a lot of people don't. They provide some elements that are truthful or that are very accurate, and I think that are functional. But most people, I don't think, have that. I think they're just doing overkill. But I would say that the first thing I do see out there that I would recommend is being inconspicuous and dressing and keeping your clothes. Like, if I myself would still run, like even with this leather jacket, with this sweater, with these pants that I have, right? I wear the Under Armour X, these pants here, right? Let me get to the cigar, guys, because I need to smoke the cigar before I get while I can. So here we go. This is the EZRA. Came in this packaging here. It came with some Bovitas that already done, right? So here's the packaging, perfectly for our discussion today in the Vendetta, and it's just simply wrapped, right? Simple black. Keep it simple with the sticker. I'm going to use my Exacto. I love that. I have these safety Exactos that I've gotten from Home Depot a long time ago. And what you want to do is just gently pass over the tape, right? Real gentle. You don't even want to press down. Just skip over it. Just skim over it, right? There's no pressing needed. Follow that. It's going to open up for you, right? Look at how easy that opened up. See? And I see a cigar, and I'm glad I did it so delicately because there is no internal wrapper on these cigars. You see that? The cigar is already by itself wrapped in this very basic paper. Whoa, don't go that far. So it's wrapped in this very basic paper here, and so I'm just gonna grab that first one we saw. Wow, look at that. So that's the packaging there. Little smoky. I love that it's not earthy. It's got good texture. It's been sitting in my humidor in this packaging for some time. I'm just gonna close this right back up and put it right back into this cello here. So it's perfect. This Vendetta cigar. Look at that. Look at that's going to be a nice addition in terms of they make very basic packaging, and all of it seems to be right house made. Like it's in-house made in terms of what they're doing, and they're a small boutique outfit, so that's good. So it's good to support those small boutiques, but what they do is not small at all, right? They do some very, just like Privada Cigars, most of their stuff, I think this is already like a 10-year-old aged cigar, and I could smell it. It doesn't have any fermentation. It smells mature. Strong, beautiful earth tone. Doesn't have a lot of tannins. Doesn't seem like it has a lot of acids to it. There's nothing sharp on the nose to it. I'm gonna do a V cut on this sucker. Ooh, that wind's coming up, but we're safe, guys. We're safe. We got so much shit here. Hopefully we could do this. Yeah, so look at that V cut, how that came out, right? I know we got a MMA match coming up, Adesanya Imavov, and we could definitely discuss that as we go through. But the primary thing that I did want to discuss today is that urban carry, because, like I said, there isn't a lot of information out there. And I would tell you what, through the end of this, I'm going to try to explain what I might be carrying myself and what I'm carrying right now. I'll say what I'm carrying right now, and then what I anticipate on carrying. But on that same sense, is use the stuff that you already have, right? You don't have to go out and buy the fanciest gear possible. In fact, some of that stuff, unless it's like, there's like this Maxpedition Entity series backpack that I want, or an everyday carry backpack. It's only like 22 milliliters, so it's actually a small backpack, has quick access to your weapons, which I'm not actually a priority, right? Because I carry both in appendix carry and always have that weapon. I have a secondary, right now I'm always carrying a magazine, side magazine, a spare magazine on the side, right, in its own, and it's all concealed, right? All here, you can't see it, right? I could carry a full-size gun if I wanted to at this point, and I could conceal it in this jacket, right? And I could have spare mag both on the side and then a couple spare mags inside this coat as well if I wanted to, right? So that's inconspicuous. There's nothing else that I'd be carrying in a crowd, and I'd wear the same exact clothes that I'm wearing right now. I don't have to look tactical. I don't have to have black boots and blue pants or cargo pants. You could wear exactly what you're wearing. Don't have to have your Arc'teryx or your North Face hoodie jacket. If you do wear one of those, I like the option of going for something in a color that is not red and not black, not white, right? It could be a soft blue, or a royal blue, or it can be sort of a mixed colors, right? That has like a little red, not necessarily red, but blue and gray, and not necessarily even, some white, right? But something that is doesn't look tactical, right? Right now I have a tactical backpack that just screams like, hey, I got a gun, I got shit in here. And people always look at me because I've used that backpack and I have like, drop bags on it. I have a thing for my water. I have other dump pouches on it. I have like 2 dump pouches on it, and then a couple other like little EDC pouches for all my cables and stuff that I might carry. So it just screams, and it has clips on it. It just screams like, okay, I have guns and ammo in this thing. That's not what I want to wear. Sure, if shit already hit the fan and shit's active, you could use it. I'll bring that out and I'll have it. It's okay at that point. All bets are off. All sort of, there still is a measure of discretion you want to use, but at that point, I'm going to pack heavy if I'm moving from one location to another semi-permanently. Otherwise, I'm going to pack a lot lighter, and I'm going to use a different system or different platform to get there. So let's light this sucker up. Yeah, so right now, what I would use for an urban situation is I have a battle belt. That on that battle belt, I have a dump pouch, and in the dump pouch, I have some shotgun shells as well as some safety gear in terms of ear protection, right? I ideally would also have a separate pouch for, and I haven't had that yet, and that's another discussion in terms of gas mask or vapor mask. I'm going to use like a 3M mask, probably just a facial mask, because I'll have like goggles with me, right? So I'm thinking in terms of light. If you have the full face mask, that's actually a little bit better, right? But then again, it's going to fog up when you're running. It's just going to be a little bit different when you're moving around. It's going to be a little more cumbersome, but it is more effective. So you could determine what you want of that. But that is one of the most important EDC instruments or tools that you need, even more so better than your weapon and some of the other things, like a knife. Knife is semi-impractical to an extent, in my opinion. Someone's gonna be like, "Oh, this guy's an idiot. Says a nice and practical." Of course, I'm gonna carry a knife, but having the more likely how often I'm gonna use a knife, probably in an emergency situation. What's up, baby? This is very nice cigar, man. Very smooth, rich, light sweetness. So hot. No pepper. I love the subtle sweetness to it. It's going to be perfect with this ginger tea. The ginger tea from Aldi, highly do not recommend it. What's the rating? I don't know yet. I just had one puff of it. Yeah, very nice walnut, sweet to walnut. Great aromas, great aromatic. Oh, MVP. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a tough one because they're all so good. There's a case for this dude still from Kansas City to get MVP. Josh Allen at Buffalo. I mean, who didn't play a bad game. The playoffs don't count. I might give it to Saquon Barkley as MVP. Like he brought that team, back and kept them into the Super Bowl. That the Giants traded him was just so stupid. That was a dumb. In fact, the Giants coach, I think, mentioned it. Like, hey, I have reservations about trading this guy, and letting this guy go to the Giants. They should have paid him whatever they did, and they might have been in the playoffs. I think, like, look at the stats. He set like records. What other player like that is up there for MVP has actually set multiple records in their respective position this year? So I think Saquon Barkley, I think he's got multiple records this year, and still playing super well in the playoffs. That he's my MVP. I think he should get the MVP, but that's just me. So Brian, yeah. So mine is Saquon Barkley should get the MVP. Is my MVP for this year. Love this little thing here. Bad start to 2025. It's not horrible. Betting wise, we were pretty good. I think some of the bets that we've put out there weren't horrible. I think the only bad bet that I made recently was going for Eddie Alvarez and BKFC, like backing him. I mean, he just quit. I didn't think that Jeremy Stevens would be able to do that to him. I didn't think he would quit. I thought Alvarez would, I guess Stevens is just more accustomed to it, more experience in this format because it is a different style of fighting. Like, Mike Perry, look at Mike Perry. He's made for this BKFC. He's just made for it. The Hunt, the champion, a multiple division champion, just is made for this stuff. You know what I mean? They're just better suited for this type of fighting. No kicks, no takedowns. There's no feint of takedowns, no feints of kicks, right? You don't have to worry about the wrestling. And even good boxing doesn't always win out. And even good Thai boxing, it's these guys that are like willing to crack and willing to take some, and it's just a different style of fighting. Joey's saying Mike Davis. What about Mike Davis? As MVP? I think, no. I mean, we'll see if they give it, if they give it to Patrick Mahomes again. I don't know. Like, he is pretty damn good. They can. But I think Saquon Barkley has put running backs back into the game of football, right? He's made running back significant again. Make running back significant again, where the running back in the running game was all but gone until like Barkley the past 3 seasons has redefined that position and shown that it could be effective to win games, open up the passing game, and score and be effective. Like there is, they have to go back to that. I mean, losing, they lost the tight ends for the most part, although this season, Josh Allen as well as Mahomes and a few others, they really use their tight ends very well. And so you see that those teams, the 2 teams that are in there, have a very complete offense where they are running the ball as well as using the tight ends and using all their wide receivers and using all their weapons they got there. Whereas like some teams, their tight end is exclusively for blocking, and same for their running back. They have like almost a fullback kind of person that is a running back that is just there to block. So again, I think Saquon Barkley should be the MVP. Redefined the game again, bringing him back, having a record-breaking season, having a winning season with Philadelphia, and just killing it every game, just killing it, right? So look at the points scored, and it's just what he does to these defenses that allows Philly. If he has a good running game, they're going to be competitive, and like they were last year. Last year there was a very competitive game. I think it's going to be competitive again. Yeah, I had my tea there. My tea is still too hot. I made it like fucking 20 minutes ago. I have this nice cup that keeps everything nice and hot. Nice and hot. Yeah, so it's only 1 o'clock. Still very early, which is great. I think this is like the earliest I might have. Oh no, that's not. It's not the earliest I've streamed. This cigar is nice. Like very, very rich with a light, sweet start. Very refined, very well rolled. Get a good draw on it. Really digging that light sweetness to that richness. Very, very nice cigar. I'm giving this cigar an 8, and I think it could still do better. It just needs to open up in my humidor. Some of the items like this in my humidor were a little drier. Thankfully, on the inside, I could tell once I looked at the cigar and I felt it was still okay. Some of the packets that were in this one, as well as some of the other cigars I had in terms of the Bovita packets, are dried out. So I know that a lot of air is still coming through into my humidor, right, and drying out the cigar. So I need to avoid that. I need to get that taken care of and get some more humidification in there. But it seems like everything that's in the boxes, like I have some humidification units, and those things are still at over 70 humidification inside. And a lot of those are still in the cello. They're also in other boxes. So I think overall most of the cigars are doing really, really well, except for a couple over there that are outside of a tupperware. Because inside the humidor I have tupperwares, right? So it's getting further humidified. It's protected upon protected. Yeah, so going back to like that urban carry thing is like, again, use, like I was talking about my backpack, that my backpack screams, okay, I got fucking shit in here. The best thing to do is to get another backpack that is, in terms of urban carrying, if you're going to use a backpack, is to get something like that entity from Maxpedition that is just subtle. It looks like a very everyday backpack that you might be using to go to work, that you might be using, commute to go to work, or that you might just be using for a nice little day pack. You don't have to use your big Kelty packs or your big Columbia packs, all which are great too because you can get a lot of stuff in there, and you don't have to stuff them to the gills, and they look inconspicuous, right? You get your basic blue or your teal or even green Columbia backpack or your Eddie Bauer backpack or your JanSport. Those will work fine, right? You could put some spare mags inside of the front pocket as well as like a rangefinder. I think that's a rangefinder is key if you're gonna be needing to spot something. And the great thing about a rangefinder as opposed to the binoculars is it gives you the range, as well as you could look out to at least 1,000 yards, right, with that rangefinder. So whether you're in the backcountry or an urban survival context, I think a rangefinder is a good form of optic for spotting, right? That if you want to check things out, it's also very inconspicuous because it just holds in your hand like this, right? You're not like out there double. You're just like boom, real quick. You can look at something very fast and boom, spot something out, right? Out to like 1,300, 2,000 yards a lot of times with those rangefinders. So a rangefinder is key. Well, you might not take cigars out with you there. Cigarettes and or like for sure a lighter, right? Cigarettes won't be horrible to take with you. I know that you might want to be able to barter, like if you're in a quick situation or calm your nerves, use something to defuse. Also, like a pack of cigarettes is something that you could. It's very light, right? It's nondescript, and you don't even need a lot of them. You could just have a couple cigarettes. Primarily, if you wanted to smoke something like this, or if you had the time, you have a lighter. You don't necessarily need the matches because the matches are going to be you're not going to be out there trying to start a fire, and there'll be going to be enough fires all over the fucking place. In terms of buildings, there'd be so much fucking fire you won't need to start some matches to start a fire. If I can walk 10 feet and probably find some smoldering sticks or something like that. But a lighter's a good thing to have. Oh yeah, I was mentioning on the battle belt. Yeah, battle belt. In one of the dump patches. Again, some your gas mask, right, or a gas mask pouch. Having a gas mask with some goggles is going to be key. I have some shotgun shells in there if I'm going to go on the shotgun platform, or if you just meet up with one of your buddies and they have a shotgun, they need some ammo, you can just hand that right to them, and it's pretty easy to do. So that's one of the things that that I have in the dump pouch, and then I have 3 spare Glock mags on the side, right? I would also have like 2 AR mags if I was on an AR platform, but right now I'm just on a 9mm Glock, Glock platform. So, yeah, I do have equipment that would allow me to carry those things, but carry what you have. If you are on a 9mm platform, if you have a PCC, a pistol caliber carbine, that's what you carry, right? If that's what you got, that's what you carry, right? You could switch out and do other things where you have those, pouches for the 223. Figure out ways where they could hold additional Glock mags, right? That you could actually contain those so that you're carrying anywhere. If you're going to combat with your pistol and your PCC, which I would be doing, anywhere from 6 to 10 mags per item. So I'm carrying at least 12 mags, 12. In that range, 12, Glock mags with me, right? Because that's the platform that I'm going to be operating on and moving on. So that's one thing about the weapon things. But the weapons choice is again, it's just being light. I think really ideally for real urban operations, having something like a 308, especially here in Chicago. Like I'm myself going to choose 5.56 just because of popularity and it possibly being able to scrap and find numerous 5.56 ammo out there as well as weapons. But ideally, you'd want like a 308 to be able to extend out past 1,000 yards, because you look at our long streets here, and if you're going to be moving along these streets, you're dead in the open. Once you cross that street, and if someone's spotting, looking down, that street, they could open fire on you fairly easily, right? So you want to be able to have that extension as well. So ideally, it would be a 308, right? If you're going to be using, in terms of some form of caliber long rifle, that's would be it. But yeah, like what I was saying right now, I wouldn't, for something that everyday like little survival, I wouldn't use the backpack, right? The backpack is for now, right? Like if you wanted to, make sure that you are there just in case something breaks out, or that you're able to move, get home when you're out at a certain place where you really think that there's something's going to be sketchy. For example, like there's something event, you went to some kind of food collection, you went to some kind of water collection or some kind of medical thing, and you wanted, still to get those services, and there are ways from your home and you're not there with the vehicle and you're moving sort of again, even there you might not even need the backpack, right? Right now I'm using, for example, a chest rig that carries plates. The thing about plates is, what I'm going to say here is that I'm not in any shape to be carrying plates, right? So I took my plates out, and I think the plates, ideally you don't necessarily want a plate carrier. Even the plate carrier empty, it's going to be able to move okay, but it doesn't move as well. And what I'm going to recommend most people get for an urban carrying situation is a chest plate, where actually the rig sits lower, closer to your abdomen, and not quite your chest, or your chest could be fine, but also a little bit lower, right? So that when you close up your jacket, your chest doesn't look all big and chest like, hey, you're not screaming like, hey, I got a big chest plate, I got a gun here. Like even most of those people with the little bags and with something on their chest, it sort of screams like, hey, I got a gun here. Whereas if you have it indiscriminately in the abdomen, where there's one I'd recommend, like there's that Condor one, there's another one from a bunch of Haley Strategic Partner. And again, price isn't as important as opposed to what the functionality is and what weight is, right? So the one I was looking at in terms of a chest rig, it has stuff for your 3.32 mags, but again, if you're not using those 3.32, you could leave them empty and just suffice and put in more Glock mags if that's what you run, even just for your handgun, right? You don't have your handgun up here. One of those things, you're going to be carrying that handgun either on your side carry or your appendix carry, depending on what kind of coat and what kind of concealment you have, right? And if you need concealment. But if you're not in shape and you're, somebody that hasn't been operating and hasn't been training in a carrier plate, you're going to have problems with that carrier plate. And that's even though you have one, I'd recommend ditching that. And Kevlar is fine, but I think a chest rig is going to be more functional and lighter, right, by far. And we're talking like you're going to have to be doing a lot of scrambling, probably more running than you're accustomed to. So having those plate carriers, if you're somebody that's completely out of shape, you're going to be drained running or even jogging 2 blocks, let alone jogging, through some alley or a small street, or hopping fences, right? Because you're going to need to hop some fences, crawl through some areas to stay discreet, or at least to stay out of direct fire of people, because you don't want to be, walking just down the main street, down your main street in Milwaukee here, because someone is going to spot you off and get you at long distance. So you're going to have to be sort of cornering to corner to corner to corner. And so speed and just weight is key, right? So I'm going to recommend sort of like a chest rig or a little like shoulder mount. If you don't carry the battle belt, right? But everything that you would put in that battle belt, and I would recommend everything that you have is more offensive, right? You're gonna have enough ammo to get yourself home, right? You're gonna have your rangefinder to spot somebody out. your knife, just in case you're trapped into something, else. Your flashlight, right? You need some lighting, ability of lighting, right? A lot of people start carrying their, like all their cords with them, something for their phone and a rechargeable battery, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think you're going to be out there for that long, right? If you're going to have your own home base, all that stuff can remain at home. Sure, you could, have some form of electrical device, like in terms of a radio, if you think that'll help you, or a GPS on your phone, or if your phone can help you, if communications are still up and you could use your phone, sure. But for the most part, most of the things that you see in everybody's kit, you're not going to need. You're going to have to stay really, really light and pack very, very thin, right? You're not going to fully pack anything. These guys that they're fully packed out and they look like, giant snowmen, military snowmen. Sure, that might work in the Ukraine. It might work in certain places. But if you look at like the way, even on television, the way some of the Arab fighters and people in those countries are operating things, a lot of times they're using chest rigs and they're running around with their sandals and they just have weapons on them, right? They have their frags, their mags, and their primary weapon, and maybe not even a secondary weapon, and they're just running around and that's what they're using. So I'm going to keep it simple, and I'm going to have very basic things. I'm going to have, keep things very, very light. I'm not going to be running out there with a backpack full of my fucking ammo, right? Like fucking 500 rounds of ammo with, not but like 200 rounds of ammo with some shotgun shells, with, a bunch of other things in one of my backpacks running out there with me. No, it's not going to be that at all. It's going to be a a chest rig with my primary carbine or long rifle, and then a sidearm, right? Light. Keep everything light, right? Goggles. You could use ski goggles or even workers' goggles. That gas mask is important. If you don't have a gas mask, good thing is a balaclava. We all use these things used in the summer or winter. A little water bottle. Because you are going to be fucking fatigued. You're going to get nervous, so you're going to have to carry a little water. If you have a bladder, that's fine too, right? And if you could fit, have one of those Camelbacks, again, it's going to be, light, right? So anything that's going to help you move. But yeah, it's all going to be more geared toward movement and offense, right? Like having enough ammo so that you could spray, an area to move, right? To give you, cover fire, or to present cover fire, or just distraction fire, right? So, whoa, it's getting windy here. Cigar is fantastic. Fantastic. So a lot of the stuff that you see online is really meant for wilderness, or that you're going to bug out. You're going to like leave the city to go to a wooded area, which here in Chicago is very impractical. Makes very little sense. Maybe you could get up to upper Michigan. Maybe you could get up to upper Wisconsin, but it's going to be a challenge getting up there, getting there in the first place. And if you do bug out there, then it's a whole different matter, right? It's a whole different pack that you're going to be doing, a whole different sort of missions, or a whole different platform. I'm thinking more of every day, sort of if we were sort of in a semi-occupied, almost like what's that? The Wolverines, Red Dawn, right? Like sort of more of a context where we're in sort of acting in an occupied state, right? Which I think that is okay to have that mentality right now, such that discretion and more of, just like they have that more underground mentality of insurgent is going to be more effective than just brute force and brute amount of stuff, right? You're going to be able to have to pack in, pack out. And here's the other thing is key, is you might need to pack out some of your stuff, right, in terms of your ammo, right? And figure out a place where you could store certain things in an inconspicuous safe spot that's going to be protected by the elements and that you're still going to be able to get to. Almost like in Minecraft when you dig down and you hide your treasure chest, you might need to do that in an urban situation to an extent, because all these homes, chances are, if shit does happen, a lot of the homes are going to be raided, right? Your home, they're going to know that, okay, this person has their FOID card, they're a firearm owner, they more likely have weapons, and so someone's going to come and take a look, do an inventory and assessment of you, right? They're gonna come. Yeah, this cigar is really nice, man. Great smoke. Love having it today. Beautiful, beautiful richness. Would have been great with coffee. Good with this tea. Now the tea's perfect. The thing with the teas at Aldi, they're only good for one brew. Like, I usually like to take my tea and then put more hot water in it so that it's sort of like I get more brew, I get more tea out of it. With this Aldi tea, it's not that robust. It's not good enough to do that. So unfortunately, you can't utilize it in that way. So that's, I mean, this one, the ginger has a good flavor, but it dissipates after the first brew. You can't like continue add to it. So it's just not a good enough tea in my opinion. I think it's a little bit lower quality, but still the ginger one is the best thus far. Has a really nice ginger and spice quality to it. Goes good with the cigar for sure. You can, like I said, cigars go good with anything. And again, this is the EZRA XO Vendetta cigar. I believe it's a San Andreas 10-year-old Maduro wrapper. And even though it doesn't have that chocolatey characteristic, it has a little slight hint of sweetness in the beginning, and then a beautiful, strong earth tone that is very subtle, that it's very mild. It doesn't have peppery character to it. It is ready to smoke now. Very, very seamless and fluid smoke. Very, very nice. Yeah, so we talked about, attire for urban carry. Like, do not wear your khakis. Do not wear your military jackets. Do not wear, stuff that has like, the Punisher symbol on your hoodie. Hoodies are good, but different color hoodies. Don't wear just a black hoodie, right? Like, like, I don't care if you wear a black hoodie, have it like Wednesday on the back of it, right? You don't want to be that thing, but make it inconspicuous that you look like a teenager, or have that kind of look, and that you could strip that, right? That's the other thing, that if you have in your backpack that you should have, is a spare additional little rain jacket or jacket, and or like overshirt or shirt, right? Like long sleeve summer or winter shirt, such that if you do something or something happens and you need to switch out, that you can actually like put on a different shirt and or hat, right? Like, you could just switch that out. Something goes on, boom, boom, boom. You've been wearing this and this for a certain time. Let me switch it up just in case someone's following me, or that I'm going to switch direction, and that I just look different, right? So I'm going to carry like a small little, instead of a poncho, I'm going to carry like a little windbreaker runner jacket, right? That looks very inconspicuous, and I might wear that from the start, right? Or that you can wear from the start. And again, you could strip down if you need to get rid of this leather jacket and move to the thing. Just jump the winter jacket. You know what I mean? At that point, it's just like get home. It's like to save your life and to make sure that you're okay and no one's following you and you're gonna be all right. But yeah, I'm gonna say that most of the things, like in terms of most online, when you see a bug out bag and you see EDC carry, 90% of that stuff you don't need, right? 90% of the stuff you don't need. The multi-tool is okay. Might bring that with me because you could use it to troubleshoot your weapon, right? Especially if it has an Allen wrench, right? Make sure that your multi-tool has that potential Allen wrench, or a small set of Allen wrenches might be good, to carry with you, or at least the ones that are applicable to your weapon, right? And you could see that if it's 5/32, or whatever size they are in terms of what an AR might have, or whatever platform you're using, right? Like, have one of those Allen keys available to you, just in case you need to actually troubleshoot or take apart your weapon for whatever reason, which is not going to be a good thing, right? So that's a good to carry. Lighter, rangefinder, gas mask, huge gas mask, right? Is key. You know, yeah, I mentioned the lighter. Like those are the primary. I do have some other ones, like in terms of, like I mentioned, your goggles might, if you're able to carry some small safety glasses, or you're running with your everyday glasses like this, then you run with that, right? And you might want to have your glasses holder as well. But the key is to not overpack, right? Not have the giant first aid kit that people carry, not carrying multiple knives, right? You don't need multiple knives. In fact, if you have a smaller one, that maybe just even, a certain box cutter, right? A certain size of box cutter might be good enough, right, for you. So this might be good enough, right? A knife's great, but like, again, we're thinking of utility, right? You're not going to be doing any hand-to-hand knife combat stuff, and if you're not training that shit, you don't want to be doing that stuff. So having those combat knives are very, very impractical. And I think in an urban context, that knife is going to be used more for getting you in and out of situations. If you're going to be using it as a prior, if you're going to use it to cut certain cables, cut rope that you might have, right, or need. Like, that's the other good thing, is like not necessarily twine, but fishing line and or like paracord is something that you might, even in an urban context, that might be one of the things that you might want to carry with you, right? Because just in case you need to make an improvised sling, you could use that as with the sticks, the paracord, to make a tourniquet, right? So you don't have to carry a tourniquet kit. You could actually, like, have sticks around you and use that knife, right? Or use the knife to shave or cut a stick, right? Or find a stick that is going to be useful to you, and you could use your paracord to create the tourniquet, so you don't have to have a tourniquet kit, right? It's great to have that tourniquet kit, but again, it's how much weight and how much space you have in your everyday carry. And the idea is not to get shot, right? The idea is to move and not to get hit. Right, so flashlight, pen and paper is somewhat useful, but you could, because the battery on your phone might dissipate, right? You could use the notes on your phone, right? The note tab, but pen and paper might be good because they are light. They're sort of inconspicuous. You can get models of them that are small, and they're going to be light. So if you need to write something down, which a lot of times you may not need to, but it's a good thing just in case you do need to write something down, like a code or a certain degrees of something, certain location of something, certain message that somebody have. Maybe you could use that, but I'm not even leaning towards a pen and paper for my everyday urban sort of carry. I'm going to substitute that with something else, right? I might even substitute it with the backup battery, right? Like a little thin battery that's as thin as the phone, right? Like, it's something that's like light to carry. I have a big one. I have a big backup battery. You want something thin and small, probably as thin as your phone, that's going to be able to power your phone up. And I would rather have that than pen and paper. I know it sounds ridiculous, although I'm a thinking person. I like pen and paper. I like putting pen to paper, so I might still keep that. But and the battery backup, right? So you need the cable that goes into your phone, right? So, but we're not talking a lot, right? We're not talking a lot. And what were some of the other things that I saw in Everyday's pack? They had poncho, they had a blanket, right? Safety blanket, little blanket. You don't need those. What was another common, some common big things that people didn't really need? I mean, they were actually packing like sleeping bags in there. You don't need that, right? You're going to be doing a basic urban sort of maneuvering. If you're here in the city, you're not going to need any of that. You're not going to need your sleeping bag. You get cold where you're going to need you could find materials to warm yourself. Fucking, even if you need to hop into a garbage can, hop into somebody's gangway, which is dangerous, right? Because you never know whose home you're going to be coming into, right? So you have to be very careful of that. So you won't need any of that. What were some of the other items that there are just a ton of items. Most, again, 90% of those you do not need, right? Let me look over here. Yeah, they got the Leatherman tool. Maybe I carry that. Lighter is key. They have a bunch of other pouches. I think whatever you could carry in a small, like those Maxpedition little EDC pouches, that's it. Like your pen, your multi-tool, a flashlight, a lighter, the paper that you would almost put, like, again, in an urban fanny pack, right? Like it's got to fit like in that urban fanny pack, and it's got to be thin, right? That's why I'm recommending that fanny pack or a rig, sort of a fanny rig, right? Where you're going to use that. Even the Altoid cans are good, but you're not going to create this big EDC go bag or loadout bag. You got to be realistic. So, rather than the poncho, I'm going to use like a waterproof windbreaker, right? Rather than that, and that also gives me like some. I don't look like as much of a target because those ponchos. If you get a poncho, don't get that big orange one, right? Don't get the big yellow one. Get something that's going to be like a little more discreet. Joey says he's got the best. MVP dog money. My Venom Page MVP. He has a tool belt. Yeah. Well, tool belt. You could actually, like, some tool belts you could probably rig out to hold weapons. So if that's what you got, and if you could put a holster on it, and if you don't have a belt, like, go ahead and use that tool belt. Take the hammer part off, or even that, it's got a dump pouch on it. You could still use that piece, right? And if you're able to, like, attach, like, via MOLLE, which you can, like some mag pouches on there on your tool belt, use the tool belt. You could use your tool belt in the weapons capacity, right? As long as it has an ability to accept. And a lot of those pouches, because they have button straps, they'll strap over, they'll button over. They won't tie into. You won't be able to use the MOLLE itself, but you'll be able to use those button straps to put mag pouches in, flashlight pouch, right? Pen pouch, a little EDC pouch, right, onto your tool belt. And with the jacket, you could go in and walk around with that, right? That's all you need, right? That's all you need. You just put have a pouch for your Leatherman, right? You could, have, the EDC pouch. You could put your phone in there as well as a cable and your backup battery, can be in there, right? As well as, your backup battery, as well as a charging cable. Use what you have. Right? You don't have to have all this $1 million super Haley strategic equipment. Like, you got to use what you got. So if you have a tool belt, you could convert that tool belt, given, depending on what you got. If you have some mag pouches, or if you find some, you're going to have to be scavenging. You're going to be scavenging for food. You're going to be scavenging for materials. And there's going to be weapons everywhere. There's going to be shit. People are going to dump shit because they're going to run out of pistols. They're going to be running out of shit. Going to be all over the place when you'll have supplies there. I use my tools when I build. Yeah, when you build or when you destroy, the tool belt is useful. Because it actually makes your body perform longer. You have better efficiency when you have a belt. If you're constantly putting something down, you have to go back to pick it up, like your hammer, right? Like, you put your hammer on the floor and you move to a certain area, and then you're like, oh shit, my hammer's over there. Plus you have your tape measure in there, so you don't have to worry about that. It's all in one place, right? And that's the same with your weapons belt. Everything's got to be in one place. Or one place around your waist, right? It's got a place around your waist. I have a dump pouch with my gas mask and or goggles in it. So I have 2 dump pouches, right, on my thing. I have a water bottle pouch on the back over there as well, and then mag pouches on the battle belt, and then also my sidearm on the belt, right? So I have all of those on the belt, and then on the rig I have, again, remember I'm running that 9mm platform, and I'm saying per weapon, 6 to 10 mags per weapon. So if I'm using both Glocks, like if I have a Glock PCC carbine, and a Glock sidearm, I'm going to be carrying at least 10 magazines, right, for those. So let's see here. Eye protection. Yeah, you need eye protection. Even the basic plastic ones, right? Like if you don't have one for the gas, even when you're shooting, you're going to need eye protection. When you're shooting and or just running around, you're going to be going in certain spots. Like, oh yeah, that's the other thing, that it's not as discreet, but it's still important, especially when a helmet. And even if it's your skateboard helmet, like skateboard helmets, if you don't have a military helmet, I think the skateboard helmet is better than the bicycle helmets, because the skateboard helmets protect your ears as well as the back of your head in a better way, right? So it's like concussive. And so if you hit just basic shit as you're running through, you're gonna hit fucking trees, you're gonna hit fucking 2x4s, both eye protection and some head protection. Even if you don't have a military helmet, which screams friggin', I have a gun again. If you're in the street in the city and you have sort of a bike helmet, or not bike helmet, or a skateboard helmet connected to your backpack, people, it's a little more indiscriminate. You could have that in the open, and no one's going to assume that you have it there for sort of defensive or offensive sort of purposes. So it is discreet. So I'd recommend one of those if somewhat necessary. But again, discretion is what I'm sort of leaning on. Yeah, light, easy movement and offensive, right? Right. And what is it that we're going to be moving for? Right? A lot of times it's going to be to get additional medication somehow, or additional supplies from somebody that's already prearranged, right? Or that you're going to go on a scavenging hunt, right? So you're going to need, you could have like a dump bag or another pouch to like carry those things in, right? But you leave with that empty, and you make sure it's small, and what it is that you're gathering is going to be small anyways, right? So that's when you use sort of have a backpack that's really small as well, that you might be carrying, that's completely empty, that's for sort of the treasures that you might find along the way. But again, what I'm saying is that the urban carry has got to be minimalist. Like a minimalist, I mean just the bare essentials that you're going to be utilizing for what your purpose is, right? Because most of the times you're not going to, and then again, it's just also like EDC carry, like even in your personal carry, when you're going to the store, like during COVID, like I would see people and you could just tell, like, oh, that dude's got a knife on him, he's got a pepper spray thing on him, you could just tell that he had just way too much stuff on him, and he had his tactical boots on, he's got his hoodie, he just screamed like, okay, I'm armed, like you don't want to be that guy, right? Because at that point you're a target, right? You're a target because you want to look like, hey, I'm just going to work. Even though we're like shit's hit the fan here, or shit's really bad, people are asking for documentations. I'm fucking riding my bike, going to the store, just to pick up some eggs for the family or something like that, right? And I'm just gonna have enough with me so that I can, deter most threats, right? And by most threats, I'm saying, a threat from 1 to 3 people. Anything more than that, you better get the fuck out of there. And it's flight. Regardless, it's flight. Flight is always the case, even in this time. Flight, right? Even in an everyday situation, you de-escalate in a flight. There's no need, just because you have a weapon and you're able to defend yourself, someone's talking shit or something's going down, for you to instigate or put yourself in there, or put yourself into a position where you're going to be committing an act or executing an act that's going to bring attention to you, possibly get you arrested, and possibly get you killed. You run away from that situation, all the people remember is that dude ran. They're going to remember nothing about you. They won't remember your clothing. They probably won't remember your description. You ran and got the fuck out. And if somebody pursues you, you have, again, you're traveling light. You have the ability to act, run, act, seek shelter, right? Seek active cover, and then put some suppression fire down, and then move. Keep running, right? It's not there to engage in a battle, firefight with somebody. You want to be able to deter that person from acting out against you, right? So eye protection is important, Joey, and in fact, two types of it. If you have glasses, great already, which is awesome, but you want to have some eye protection that's going to cover the side of your faces, so the ski masks are good, because the bad thing about these, and I've had that before, like these glasses and the other eye protection that's open, you could have casings that'll fall down into this area here, and it'll burn your eyes still, and I've had that actually, where I've had a casing come down, fucking get trapped in my eye thing, get trapped in my eye and burn my eye as it's coming into my glasses. So if you have the goggles that protect this area, it's good. And sometimes also they'll protect from some of the gases and or even like that, bear spray, right? If you have bear spray and it can't get in here and you have the full goggle, it's going to get on your face, but chances are, if you got this, it's going to minimize, if you got your balaclava, minimize in your nose, it's going to be on your face and it's not going to get in your eyes. And some of it's going to still sting, but it's not going to be as bad. So you want to have like those ski goggles or something that covers up. And then it isn't bad to have just these safety goggles or your glasses, right? That you're doing just on the everyday. But as soon as you could transfer over into your ski mask, into your ski goggles, if you're actually in an active situation, the better, right? Otherwise, again, we're trying to get out of those situations, and you're not going to be able to get out of those situations a lot of times and move as quickly as if you look and have like that backpack and even the big old chest ring. You have a lot of that with you. Again, we're looking for a minimalist situation, what's called for, what is your objective when you are moving, and you're going to have to move at a certain point. You're going to have to go and ask your neighbor for some supplies. You're going to be able to check in on your neighbor and coordinate with them, right? You might have to go to a community center here that's going to provide you with some information, at the local church, and you'd have to go there or some other place, but you have to have the Man, this cigar is really good. 8.5, guys. Very nice. No edge to it. Well constructed, even though it's outdoors here. So nice to be out in the, even though it's a little chilly, so nice to be out here in the sun with you guys. Let me make sure that I'm still there. Yeah, but let me know what you guys think in the chat or in the messages, like what other items you might carry, sort of on an everyday note, every day, or at least even on your EDC. I think EDC right now, I'm just carrying my sidearm with a spare mag. The spare mag is essential, right? I don't carry a knife with me. It just seems impractical, or don't really necessarily need it unless I'm going to be trying to escape something, get out of my car and tear, break the seat belt if I'm in an accident or something such as that, right? Knives are going to be, for close quarter combat, and for something like that, I don't want to pull out a knife on somebody, bring a knife to a gunfight, especially here in Chicago, and I don't want to rely on my knife at all. And sort of flash that and have that someone could see the knife. I'd rather have someone see my spare mag pouch, and I have my flashlight's the only thing I also carry in my pocket. So I have a flashlight with me that also has a little like sort of weapon to it, so that you could actually use it as a spike to somebody. But everything is minimalist. Everything is ready to go, inconspicuous. Like right now, I literally can have in this jacket, in what I'm wearing, my full sidearm with one spare mag on the side of me, or multiple ones. I could put a double mag pouch on myself if I really wanted to. So I could have a double mag pouch if I wanted to, and then a double inside here in the inside pocket, so I could have 4 magazines with me, in addition to the one that's actually in the weapon. So I'm going to have 5 mags with me, which is more than enough to run something basic that, it's overkill. In fact, just to, walk down the street and go to the store, right? It's just, it's a little overkill, but these are trying times. There's going to be, again, people operate in hordes and in gangs here. And, some people do operate independently, but you're going to see a lot of like groups of 3 and 4 people that are going to be up to no good. Right, that even nowadays, even if say for example ICE operates, they're coming in with multiple agents, right? They're not going to be by themselves. They aren't going to be in groups of 2s. They're going to be in 3s, 4s, and 5s, if not even more. You're going to have various people, hunting and looking around and ready for something, but they're going to be in larger groups. That being the case, you're going to need more firepower, not necessarily to stop those people, but to lay a suppression fire for you to evade. Like, evade is the key. You're going to need to lay down some fire so that you could change position rapidly, keep on moving, move out of the way, move out of the direct line of fire, find cover, and move, be able to have a second and tertiary location just to get out there, get the fuck out of there, right? And hopefully you can. Right? Again, evasion is key. So my recommendation is a lot of these guys, most of the gun people that are out there in these communities, they all scream, I have a gun, right? I have a weapon with me and I'm into guns. Avoid that, avoid that, because like right now, the way I look, if I'm fully walking down the street, I could walk into almost a police station and they wouldn't know that I am fully armed. Right? I don't look that certain way. I don't look like a threat. I'm dressed in my normal, regular clothes like a civilian, wearing regular shoes, just regular shoes, not even like running shoes, just regular old shoes, like almost like dress shoes. I'm wearing my boots that I could actually move in, right? Aren't the best for combat, but they're going to be sufficient, and they're going to get me in and out of there, right? But I don't have like combat boots. I don't have any running shoes. Very inconspicuous, regular old boots, regular like dress pants looking, with not cargo pants or military pants, right? No hood. If I'm wearing a hoodie, it's going to be a different color, like a gray color, right? Or an off color like teal, a green, not your typical military green, evergreen, not your typical camouflage, no camo gears or digi gear, none of that stuff. You're better off wearing your Chicago Bears jacket with your Chicago Bears jersey, right? Like your team jersey, and have all your stuff, especially those jerseys are great to cover up your waist. You could have a full battle belt with your team jersey over it, and nobody's going to see that. And you could have like multiple mags on your dumb pouch, et cetera, et cetera. Your whole battle belt could hide underneath that team jersey with your regular old jacket, and your regular old hat. You want to wear your team hat, you could have your team hat. Right? And nobody would know the difference. But if you're wearing that, okay, I'm, Black Rifle Coffee Company, your fucking, Punisher thing, your MAGA shit, right? Like all that stuff is not good, right? Your patches on your backpack that, the no tread on me, that have your blood type, all the stuff that screams, I know about weapon, get all that stuff off of your pack, right? And again, use what pack you got. Right? If you only have your kid's JanSport or Eddie Bauer backpack, use that. Right? Use that. Pack what few things that you could use there. If you have a few spare mags, put it in there. You could put your basic EDC stuff. You leave it empty. Right? You might have your change of clothing. It'd be great if you have your gas mask. If you're in a situation where we're gonna be in soon, having that gas mask with you is gonna be key. And there's plenty of 3M ones that you get the vapor. The best ones are in that $200 or $300 range. The better ones are in that $100 to $50 range. And then the sufficient ones range anywhere that are just the basic facial one, for anywhere from $20 to $50, right? So again, it's what you can afford and what you can do. And again, we're not going to be putting ourselves in these contexts where, you go to those big protests, you're going to have problems. Avoid those protests. Avoid those big gatherings, right? You put yourself in there, they're going to gas mask those groups, right? Yeah, there is a little chocolate to this cigar now. Nice chocolatey character right now, and the oil's there. Beautiful, more very cacao. I like that cacao finish now. Good stuff, man. 8.5. Great cigar. Happy to get the cigar. Love the chocolatey finish now. Nice sweetness with a nice, that very like Mexican, almost chocolate like character to it, which isn't hyper sweet, right? It isn't super sharp. It just has very genuine cacao. Yeah, very strong chocolates now. At this final third, very strong chocolates. Can you guys hear me? Very strong chocolates. Very strong chocolates. Test, test, test. Yeah, so we're gonna definitely talk some more MMA. Maybe later this week. Not the best of cards. I would say let's if we're gonna discuss something very quickly, that let's talk the main event: Imavov and Adesanya. Imavov is no joke. I think Imavov is beyond a live dog. I think it should be an even money fight. I think people see Izzy is the better counter striker, but Imavov has very similar, I would say, more strategic characteristics as this of that this guy has, fucking Strickland, right? He's a good hammer and he keeps coming at you. One of Imavov's best weapons is his defensive leg kicks. He's pretty decent at defending those leg kicks and checking leg kicks. He's really good, and that's going to be very important with him with Adesanya. Problem with Imavov is that Adesanya is going to be evading and tailing Imavov, and Imavov tends to come straight, standing up forward, and doesn't move laterally very well. So he's very hittable, right? And he is not going to play the Philly shell like Strickland does, but he has his own. He's willing to take one to give one, and if he could cut off, which I think he can very well, cut off Adesanya, he could definitely score points. And once he cuts him off and is in the clinch, one of Imavov's another secret weapon that he has. Even though he's a Dagestani guy or from Russia, he's not a great wrestler, but he is his very good sort of taekwondo. His trips are really good. And while Izzy's got a good get-up game, and while he might not be able to hold Izzy down, he's going to be able to use that trip quite a bit to wear Izzy down a little bit and to have him thinking about that takedown. And he might be able to get up, but it's going to wear on Izzy quite a bit and also get him a little frazzled, because Imavov is going to be able to score some good punches and tight punches. And Izzy does not like those kinds of scraps. And I think that the people that failed, like Romero, as well as the other guys who aren't as good of strikers as Imavov, is because they played into Izzy's strengths. And I don't think that Imavov will. I think that Imavov, he's going to be prepared as well to get on the inside, to land those strikes, and even separate himself slightly, not to get in full range, but in a mid-range area where I think he's going to be most effective. Because if he stays at range, Izzy's going to just piece him up. He's going to matador him. He's going to light up those kicks, even though he's going to check them. He's just going to get kicked and moved, kicked and moved, kicked and moved. And I think for Imavov, just overall, point-wise, I think Izzy's going to have a hard time, and I don't think this goes to a finish either way. Right, I think that Imavov might have the better upside for getting a TKO or a finish here, because I think he just has more TKO power. But Izzy has that better volume to it, and I just don't think it's going to work on Imavov. Imavov's got a good chin, but in this fight, I might, looking at Izzy taking a big step down. I don't know where his headspace is, what kind of training he's been doing. Imavov's on the up, and Imavov's is the type of hammer that can be a problem, because very similar to Strickland, he's willing to take strikes, and he's going to keep coming. And Izzy's going to not, he just doesn't like that. And Imavov's going to land some strikes, and Izzy doesn't like that either. When you land on me, he doesn't like it. And Imavov's, like Strickland, strategically has a similar style, not in terms of what they're doing with Strickland's Philly shell. I'm just saying that constant forward pressure. And then Imavov, I think, actually has a little bit more striking power than Strickland, in my opinion. So I'm leaning, not trying to do MMA math here, I'm leaning slightly on Imavov to actually take this, because if he does the things defensively that he can do, that's going to open up his offense, which is going to stymie and pester, just like Strickland did. It's going to pester Adesanya into not acting. And that's the best thing you can do to a counterfighter like Adesanya, is to get him to not act. Make him afraid to counter you. Make him afraid to throw strikes. And to do that, you got to, close the distance. You got to be able to get in there, close the distance, and close off the cage of Adesanya and not let him move. And I think he could do that. So, is he still one of the best? But again, counter fighter, counter striker. And Imavov is that kind of guy to fall into that style, because he's going to come forward. Again, he stands up really straight, no lateral movement, no steps left or right, and that's going to be his biggest problem. If I were him and his team, I'd work on that. Just him moving laterally, constantly lateral, almost like get him working out with like a basketball defender, a basketball team, moving left and right, moving laterally. And then with somebody in the fighting game that has that ability to like close off the cage with that lateral movement, right? And another big problem with Imavov is his kicks. He's got more weapons with his kicks. He could come up high with it. Imavov's got a high kick, but it's slow. His kicks are like, the speed advantage is definitely going to be with Adesanya, and that's another big problem for Imavov, is that he might get worn out because he's getting tagged, right, because of the speed. Getting tagged both in the body with the feet as well as with the punches, and just not responding well, and he's going to take 3 to give 1. And you're not going to win that fight, taking 3 to give 1. If you could take 1 to give 1 or give 2 and just keep it a back and forth, getting into those end of the rounds, maybe he could steal the rounds, if not do something decisively against Adesanya. But it all depends if he could close off that corner, implement his judo, and get those trips in. Right, trips in to hold Adesanya a little bit, do a little dirty boxing in when he's on top on him, right? A little slight ground and pound, just as he's holding him, controlling him a little here and there, and then he has, of course, control his cardio. Both guys definitely have to control their cardio, because I could see even Adesanya towards the end of those rounds, because of his offense, is not going to be as open and have the same kind of energy. So I think this is going to be a harder fight for Adesanya than his fight with Whitaker. I think it's going to be a tougher fight than his fight with Yoel Romero, as well as Borrachino, right, the Brazilian guy. I think Imavov is a better striker, going to be more of that nail. And although his style is suited for Adesanya because he just comes forward, doesn't move a lot, I'm still favoring Imavov if he could just make those adjustments, because I think Izzy's got a foot out the door. He's making his money. He's made a lot of money. And right now he's relegated as gatekeeper, and it's his first time as gatekeeper. So this is a huge fight for both these guys. And let's see what happens. Right now, again, I'm slightly on Imavov. I'm not at the gate yet with that ticket. But, I think that's the key to victory for Imavov. And Adesanya is to do what he normally does. Styles on people, uses speed, counter striking, leg kicks, variety of leg kicks, move, and that's it, right? I don't think he's going to shoot a takedown on Imavov. If he does, it's going to be problematic for him, because I think in those scrambles, Imavov might have not necessarily better grappling technique, but I think he has better grappling strength, where he's going to be able to, to dictate where, if they stay in a clinch, if they stay in grappling or not, right? So I think he's going to have that advantage. Man, very nice cigar, man. 875. I like it when they're like this size, and it doesn't become pungent. It's actually mellower now, or mellow, and I love that when a cigar, like, all the flavors become more confined and refined in the end. They're more demonstrative. You can taste them more demonstratively, and I enjoy that. I like that a lot better, and that's what this cigar has. That's why it's an 875. The Vendetta, perfect, because we are on a vendetta. You have to care for yourselves, guys. Be about better. Evade, evade, evade. Avoid confrontation. Avoid flagging yourself on the internet like we all have. Right? That's the other thing. Is like we all have our internet footprint that could tell someone a lot about us. Right? So I don't know if that means like just staying off social media or watching what your social media is important, right? Even this, like for example, with myself putting something like this out could flag me to an extent. But I wanted to put some information or get some start a discussion and let people know that a lot of the stuff that you see out on the internet and YouTube in terms of what's working for those people, it might not work for you. Like find what works for yourself. We're not military people. We can't test these things, but you could test some of this stuff, right? Like walk around with your battle belt over your big coat. Walk down the street. If you have your concealed carry, walk down the street with your belt and a big coat and see how it looks. Look in the mirror, walk down, walk around, feel the weight of it, test it out. Same with your chest rig or the fanny pack, more of a fanny rig, chest rig, fanny rig. Like put that on, put on a regular jacket, right, or windbreaker, something that would cover it and conceal it, and walk around. See how you feel with it. If you're going to wear a chest rig, I highly recommend getting a weight. Not necessarily. You could use your thing at the gym, maybe if they let you bring your plate carrier in. I doubt it. They sell these like at the gym. They have these plate carriers that don't have the weapons pouches and things like that, right? So you don't have to take everything apart on your plate carrier. You can keep it the way it is. Get one of those things and train in that, or just train carrying a backpack or something with that weight, or even a weight belt, right? Go into your gym and start, or even at your if you're walking or at your local home, put on a weight belt. Do drive someplace, do your normal run or walk with that weight belt on and a weight pack, just so that you could get used to carrying that weight. Because I think a lot of us, like right now, and even myself, 90% of people probably that live in the city that even have arms and are ready to sort of defend themselves and or move, just physically won't be capable of doing it. They just do not have the cardio as well as just the muscle capacity to sustain themselves in that platform for a long period of time. So you have to have some prior training, and if you don't have that prior training, best thing you can do is, like I said, with myself, is avoid the plates. Like you're adding another like 40 pounds to what you're doing. That's a lot. Maybe not 40, maybe it's just 30, maybe it's a little less. But again, speed, discretion, maneuverability, right, is the key. Number one, discretion. Number two, maneuverability, right? Maneuverability and speed, which entail both the weight. Both of those are constrained by the weight of what you're carrying, right? So anything unnecessary that you don't need in a matter of a couple hours, 3 hours on a mission, don't take with you, or 3 hours or something, or even an hour, right? Like you don't anticipate getting stuck anywhere. If you're going to be moving from sort of your base to something, you're going to have a purpose, right, for moving, right? And then you don't want to be out there for too long. The longer you're out there, the longer you are going to be a target here, especially in the city, right? With big open streets, the streets are going to be on lockdown. You might see like tanks or armored vehicles at certain points, and those vehicles have weaponry where like you're a few thousand yards away, you're like 3 blocks away, they could still get you, right? So you want to be able to move fast, right? You want to be able to move so that they might have seen you cross the street or run across the street, but that's it. They didn't get you as you're running across the street. They might know your position, but right away they're not able to act on you because you're moving fast, and then you keep moving, right? You just can't stay at one place. You have to keep moving with intent, move with intent, right? And you're moving. right? So you're not with a ton of stuff. You're not with a full backpack with your, with a tent in it and sleeping bag and full first aid kit, full cooking gear with, a hatchet, right? You don't, that is not going to be what you need in a quick urban context, right? Light bag that gas mask, clothes like a spare jacket, right? To wear, even maybe some sweatpants to go over your existing pants, right? Backup weaponry, maybe a small first aid kit, very small first aid kit, paracord, a lighter, your phone, multi-tool, and or an Allen wrench or just more of a multi-tool will work, right? If you need to do some basic you know things to your weapons, right? If you need basic shit to it. And that's it. Like really, really more of an offensive sort of mindset that's going to be very, very quick is what's going to be needed, right? Man, this cigar is really good. So number one with your gear, don't look and have equipment that looks like, hey, I got a gun in here. It's the main thing. Hey, don't look like you have it. Discretion, right? Blend in. Look like a normal businessman, right? Instead of that, trench coat with your a sweater, even a shirt, long coat, like a dress coat almost, fine for concealing, right? Good long parka, right? That extends lower, but like your longer to the waist, fantastic, right? Whether light or even in the wintertime, parka right now is a great thing to have, right? That you can cover the lower half or a little bit further down on your body, so that you could actually wear a battle belt, and even have open, sidearm carry. Have your open carry on your sidearm, right? And they won't be able to see it when it's covered up by the parka. Right, and that's key, is to look like you're just going to work. Look like you always would, like you're just going shopping. And everything you choose, again, it's for maneuverability, right? Even your weapon. If you feel better just with your sidearm, right, and enough, ammo for that your sidearm could be effective, and you're going to just carry that. Just have anywhere, again, 6 to 10 mags for that sidearm, right? If you are going to be moving in a situation where it's potentially already hostile. So now, yeah, that's my for a loadout, in terms of urban loadout, that's my opinion. Let me know in the chat here. Again, you might not even use that fanny pack. You could use a battle belt with a EDC pouch on it. So you have all that other stuff in the EDC, right? You have a little pouch in the EDC that could be on the belt, or that you could put in your pocket of your jacket, that has like your Leatherman's tool, and it has your lighter, has that other, the other things, even your rangefinder. Like, again, but the fewer things that you have, that you're gonna be able to move better, faster, that's a better thing to go. Yeah, well, look at how we smoked this thing. Man, this is almost 9 Club. Nice, beautiful light sweetness, chocolatey finish. Excellent cigar. 875. Well, let's go. Thank you for Joey, for people that entered. If you've made it this far, we really, really appreciate it, right? Hit the comment section, like and subscribe. Oh, this thing is hurting. ready to burn me. It's ready to burn me. But if you made it this far, you are about better. We will be going live again to give a full breakdown of the event here that's coming up right now. Again, I think this. You can listen back of what I think between Adesanya and Imavov. I think that the Imavov is more than a live dog there. He should be a genuine threat to Adesanya. But if you've made it this far, you are about better. Stay safe out there. Get, again, everything within your means. Gambling within your means, buying your weapons within your means. Everything that's, make sure that it's practical and functional to you if you're going to buy something. Make sure that it's suitable for you and what you want to do, because a lot of things out there don't do what everyone else is doing out there. Just modify out there. Take the best things from what people see. And like I said, one of the things that I saw, one guy, he had that thing. He had a really nice Arc'teryx, light blue hoodie / poncho that's waterproof. It was big. He covered his fanny belt, his battle belt, and he looked like a regular high school kid. No backpack, right? And if he had a backpack, he did have a backpack, and he had a PWC in there. I get a full little small personal weapon. It's high caliber, which is great in his backpack. Awesome. And it was an indiscriminate backpack. It was like a little gray and blue Osprey, very small, 20-liter small little backpack that just carried the gun and very few other items, so he could just ditch that if he wanted to, or just put it back on, right? But he looked like he was just heading to, the store. He looked very basic, right? And I thought that was very interesting. And he had very basic things in his, mainly ammo and some, his rangefinder, and very few things. He had a, tourniquet, a first aid kit, and very few things in the backpack and in his battle belt, which I'd recommend too. Very, very small amount of things. But you've made it this far. You are about better. Thank you very much. We'll see you again later this week.